Hello, everybody. Today I will be talking with Tero about Dash.io and a little bit about the Brazilian fab scene. So, who are you?
Well, hello everyone. My name is Tero. I am, as people know, the weirdo that plays a lot of Dash.io on YouTube. And we are here to talk about some really funny facts about Dash.io. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about a couple but deck lists and tricks that we can go over for the RTN season for the hunted. But first, I want to know more about like the Brazilian fab scene and kind of about yourself. So, like, what got you into Flesh and Blood originally?
So I went to play Fab because I used to play a lot of MTG, like Pauper. And I wasn't satisfied with it at all. So I thought, well, might as well just migrate to a different game, try some new things and so on. So I thought, well, and I tried a different thing. And then a friend came in and said, "Wow, try Flesh and Blood. It's a fun game." I was like, might as well. So I started playing in a year ago. I started on the pre-release of Heavy Hitters, and well, I got beaten up in the pre-release because it isn't easy for a person that only know the rules. And I had a lot of fun with it, even though I lost. Differently from losing in Pauper, I would get really mad. In my case, I was like, this is fun. Like the community was also really welcoming. So it's what makes the difference about Fab. Like the community always hold you up. They are share you up, whatever. And I'm like, man, it's so nice. Like we after the pre-release, we went out for drinks and stuff like that. So it was really, really fun. So after that, I started playing as Dash. My first match was playing as Dash IE because I didn't know about Dash IO. So after playing that, I was like, this is what I wanted, but not quite. Is there other mechanologists or like similar heroes? And then my friend that used it to play that deck said, there is the Dash IO, but no one's in the store plays it. I was like, how is she? And then they gave me the card, and I was like, this is what I want. So well, with his help, I made the deck and started playing that with within the armories. So I was like, this is so fun. Like this is so much fun. And then afterwards, we in the middle of the drinking from the pre-release, they were talking about a beast called RTN. And I was like, what kind of animal is this? And they were like, that's not an animal, Terrell. That's what we call the regionals in the Flesh and Blood. I was like, wow, so anyone can participate, or you gotta like classify or something like that. And they were like, no, you can just like pay the entry and just play the game. I was like, can I participate? And they looked at me and were like, why not? But it was really far from where I live. So we did what we call the fab trip. We went through a whole completely different state after 12 hours
12-hour
to play
trip
the
to go to
RTN,
an RTN?
to play the
Oh
RTN,
my god.
which
Okay.
which I had like one month of experience. Like I did like 2 to 3 armor and a lot of talishers, like a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
But as people know, and I want to like mention this really quickly, if you play a lot of talishers as Dash.io, you're gonna lose a lot of important points that you need to know, which is triggers. Because solutions like automated, you're gonna when you play on the table, you're gonna see that sometimes you're gonna forget triggers and put markers like stain counters on your stuff and so on and on. So that's a really important point. Like don't just play solutions, play physical too.
Yeah.
So we went to the RTN, which funnily enough, I made it to top two.
You wait,
Like I
hold on,
just
hold on,
lost.
hold on, hold on. So you made it to the finals at your first RTN
Yeah, on of my
after
first
only a
RTN,
month
I
of
managed
playing?
to. Yes.
Okay.
Funnily enough, this happened.
How upgraded was I assume you were playing like you bought the Dash.io deck like the one off the shelves, right?
No, because it
Okay.
was 1 year ago. So
Oh, this
no
was
one
before
had
the
the
DO. Oh yeah, I forgot
for
processor.
everything.
Yeah,
So
okay.
what happens at that age was, since I did had like enough to buy the whole deck because it was still like salty,
Yeah.
a friend of mine that had the Dash IE had a lot of cards.
Hmm.
So he made a Dash IO deck for me and gave it to me.
Okay.
Like, go play the game, have fun. I was like, well, might as well.
Yeah.
In his case, he was playing the Dash, this lab one, like
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
mechanologist
The
that
turtle
doesn't use
dash.
any mechanologist cards.
Yes.
So in his case, like he didn't needed like 0 to 60 and zipper hit, etc. So he
Hmm.
just made the deck for me, which I played with back in the day, the Tome of Fyendal list. So MV and Tome. It
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
rough. Like normally it would work, sometimes it wouldn't work at all.
Yeah.
But well, I in the RTN, I lost the first match against the Prism, and then I won every single one of them. I made it to top eight. And then on top eight, I fought a Kennel, which lasted like 5 minutes because it was a brainstorm Kennel.
Yeah.
Don't ask me why. The, the semifinals I played against the same Prism that I lost to, and this time I won because my mindset was first time I tried to block a lot. This time I will try to do a lot of damage and see what happens. And that worked out.
Yeah.
And my last match is against something that we don't want to see anymore, which is Romai.
Mm,
So
yeah.
hopefully she will stay in LL. But well,
No,
in my
I
case,
think she's coming back at some point.
oh please no. Well, in any case, I managed to bring him to 1 HP. But the
Mm.
problem was at the beginning of the match, I forgot to put a sting counter on my pistol because the first action that I did was a signal jammer.
Mm-mm.
So that specific sting counter would make a lot of difference.
Yeah.
And after that, I just got like beaten up by a lot of dragons and could not hold at
Yeah.
all, and I lost,
But that
which is
is
fine.
to your point of the Talishar games. It is very important to definitely, play the deck in paper so that you don't forget those Steam counters. But I mean, like, even after, what, 8 rounds or 7 rounds of playing Flesh and Blood and you forget one Steam counter, like, getting all the way to the finals, like, it starts to get a little bit difficult at the end of those tournaments there after thinking all day like that.
Yeah, not only that, but the fatigue also it's a
Yeah.
really important point.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get really nervous. Like it was my first tournament, so I was like really, really nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, man, I don't even know how I got to this point. Like, what is going on? So it was really fun though. Like watching
Hmm.
all of my friends that went with me doing the sharing. It was like a goddamn football match. Like I was in the finals, like the worst finals. It was really fun, like really, really fun. So after that, I managed to like get second place after 8 rounds of Flesh and Blood. We even after that went back to the hotel. We still played Flesh and Blood until midnight. It was a really fun trip.
Yeah. So, like that's also the reason why I originally got into the game is, I thought the cards looked cool, and then I went to my first armory and I was like, "Oh my god, the community here is so much better than like any other community I've ever been a part of." So, I kind of want to know a little bit more about like the Brazil and like so how many people do y'all have showing up to these RTNs? Like how much do other people travel, or is it just kind of like you and your crazy group of friends who will travel 12 hours to go to something like that?
So, for example, where I live, which is the northeast of Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
last tournament, like big tournament that we had, which was the ProQuest London, we had 42 people coming
Oh,
here. Just
42 at a Pro Quest. Okay, yeah.
yeah, so we had the second like biggest ProQuest in Brazil,
Okay.
funnily enough. So we did had people that came from different states, like neighbor. So we had some people from the south, from the north, from the left. So we had a lot of people compared to like other places.
Yeah.
And it was a really interesting experience because for the ProQuest, for example, I played two.
Hmm.
Before this one of 40 people, we went to the north to play against, I think it was around 18 to 20 people.
Okay, yeah.
So I still managed to get to top four.
Yeah.
I lost to a Florian because this match is
Yeah, the
disturbing.
Florian matchup is definitely the best Guardian in the game right now. So we'll talk about
Yeah,
Florian in a little bit.
like he did some erase faces and I could not help
Yeah,
it.
erase face
So yeah,
hurts.
and funnily enough, a fun fact: this time around for the ProQuest, the armor deck was out, but I could not
Mm.
get it in time for the ProQuest, so I had
Oh,
to play with Rainbow Blue Grenades and see what happens.
yeah. Well,
But it was really fun regardless.
that sounds like a
For
lot
the
of fun.
40, it was, but for example, for the 44 one or 42 people, I had the armor deck, and
Okay.
it was really, really disturbing to watch a high octane become like a 10 cards hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, people would sit on the table and be like, "What is this?"
Yeah, I feel like it took a long time for people to really like learn that Dash IO was just like insane after the high octane came, or not high octane came out, after Cerebellum Processor came out. Like everyone was like, "Oh, this is really good," and then people were like at Worlds and they're like, "Wait, Sam Sutherland just took a 30-minute turn? How did this even happen?" It's like, were y'all not paying attention to what was to what these cards say? Like,
Not only that, but for example, I think it was the first one when the armor deck came out to try the system reset deck.
yeah,
So when I saw the Cerebellum, I thought, what if, as a MTG player, flickering it's something that exists?
yeah,
So I was like, what if I flick the Cerebellum processor? Does it resets and I can do a draw again?
yeah,
If yes, then this thing is broken.
yeah.
And then I tried it on Publisher when it came out, like when they fixed it, because normally when the cards comes out, it's broken. So when they fixed it and I tried it, I managed to prove my theory. Was like, this thing is broken. So I sent on Discord, and then everyone was like, "Oh my god, this thing is actually broken." And then everyone started using it, which was really fun to see. Like, actually, people. That's the funny part about the Discord, like people tinkering
Yeah.
about every card possible. Like the Discord channel for Dash is really a workshop.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the mech workshop down there. I've never been in any of the other mech discords, but I'm sure that they're also just like they got their hammers and their wrenches and they're just tinkering at the deck list. Like, oh, what if we try this exact card? And then it's like, wait, if we play these four cards, somehow we can get a combo of like having 5 action points. It's like, hold on, this is a little Magic Christmas Land, but I like what you're thinking. Maybe this does have some legs to it, just like the system reset thing. Because I first saw that and I was like, this looks a little weird. Like how exactly does this work? Like this like random yellow that costs like 50 cents and like from bright lights, and then it's like, wait, hold on a second. I think y'all are cooking.
And then suddenly, the card was like $10. I was
Yeah.
like, what is going on?
Yeah. But I
It
want
was a really fun time, to be honest.
to
Like to be fair, so because of that, the only issue with this deck is we had to do a lot of setups.
yeah.
So we needed to have a system reset, a Cerebellum, and High Octane, which happened to me in my case was I got into a match for the top
Hmm.
8 of the Pro Quest against a
Oh,
Azalea. So my problem was I had no time to do that because I got into a red in the ledger loop.
yeah.
So it's really sad when that happened and when
Yeah.
she like 14 if it hits you get every type of disease known to man and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, you become
So I was
frail, you
like,
get blood rot, and then also everything else. Yeah, no, and you can't just do anything. So have fun with that. Read the Ledger
right?
Codex, read the Ledger Codex, and it's just like, oh man, yeah, that matchup's usually not too bad, except if they can hit you with a Read the Ledger early and then just keep that up. That usually hurts really bad. But I want to know a little bit about like how you got into making YouTube videos originally. Like what inspired you to just like start recording your videos on Talishar and just like throwing them on there?
So what happened was I was feeling stagnated with my gameplay. Was
Hmm.
like sometimes I win, sometimes I do a juju, sometimes
Hmm.
I just do a 0-4. So I thought, what if I start recording my matches and then review them afterwards to see the matches that I did a mistake that I want to like see, and then I could have done this better, I could have done that better, and so on and on. So
Okay.
I started doing this, but I didn't post to YouTube. So I was like, oh, so this is interesting. So a friend of mine saw it, and he asked me like, why don't you post that on YouTube so people can also see it? And on the like, if you don't like talking, you can just like type in the description like the mistakes that you did and things that you could improve and like your thinkings anyway. So
Yeah.
I was like, sure, like why not? And then this is what I did. So I did the first match, I recorded it and put it on YouTube and just left it there. Like I wasn't like thinking, oh, I'm gonna become a pro YouTuber, etc., for fun. So I was like, well, I just gonna keep leaving that there. And suddenly, I thought, well, some people have a lot of like questions on the Discord channel, so
hmm
I will just keep like posting it like every time that I record it and
Yeah.
see what people think of it. So then suddenly we hit like 100 subs recently.
Oh,
So there
nice.
is
Yeah,
that.
congratulations. Let's go.
So it is really nice to see that people are like sometimes comments,
hmm
sometimes people don't really comment, but I know that people are watching it and seeing like, oh, I could have done this like this
Mm.
guy, or oh, this is how this thing works, and so on and on. So
Yeah. Or maybe they
for me,
saw a
it's
line
really
that you never
nice,
saw.
right? So for me, it's a really like fulfilling experience,
hmm
and I like it.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Um, that's kind of like the same thing that I went through. I was just like, why am I playing all of these games on Talishar and not at like recording them? It's just like it just kind of makes more sense to be able to just see what you did later. But yeah, it's been really helpful like being able to do that. And like you were saying, like the people in the Dash.io Discord are super active and always like asking about like, oh, what do we want to do here? What do we do here? And then honestly, probably the question that we've been getting asked the most, especially since the calling, we're recording this right after the calling Memphis, has been what are the best cards to name with Null Time Zone? So we're going to get into the main topic here and talk about a little bit probably every hero that day 2'd at the calling, because that is probably what your meta is going to look like at your local RTNs. And we're going to go through that whole list and say what card to name as for Null Time Zone for any of these heroes. So Tero, what's our first hero up on the leaderboard there?
Well, first off, for people that don't know what no time zone is,
True, yeah.
it's a bull card that costs 0, which is it enters with 2 steam counters. You can remove 1 for crank, and it is when it enters, you name a card. The opponent can play the name it card or can pitch it.
Mm-hmm.
And when it says play, it's not from every place, it's just from hand. So he can arsenal and play it from arsenal,
Mm-hmm.
but he can play that from hand nor pitch it. So we're gonna talk about the champions, or actually the heroes, that have a good time with it, and some that you don't even use it at all.
Yeah.
So first off, we have on the list the Viserai, which is the top of the meta, like the king of kings right now.
Yeah, it seems like it. The day 2 conversion rate on Viserai was very good. So, talking about Viserai, what is that matchup like in general for you before we talk about Null Time Zone? Because obviously there's going to be a lot of them out there. What kind of like whenever you sit across from a Viserai and you don't know the player at all, it's just a random RTN in a different state. What are you expecting? Are you expecting more of a super aggro version, or are you expecting more of a mid range version? And kind of how do you kind of plan around that?
Like normally, knowing nowadays how the meta is, I
Mm-hmm.
know that it either gonna be a super aggro, or he gonna have a mid range plan on his side,
Mm.
which is annoying because the side normally is sink below and the, for example, sigil of suffering and so on and on,
Mm-hmm.
which is annoying to deal with because it gets our breakpoints. So in this case, for his the matches, I either go super hand on him, and if I see that he's blocking too much or being super defensive about it, I normally just put 2 pounders, BIOS update.
Mm.
So I will just like wait for them and try to set up a MV turn that I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
like
yeah.
ease through. But the problem with Viserite matches is That goddamn face. Face Purgatory is
Yes.
annoying.
Yes, Face
It's
Purgatory
really annoying.
is definitely the best card in the deck against us. I always feel like I have to like play around it the whole time, and then the second that like he uses it or the opponent uses it, I feel like the game actually opens up a little bit for us. So there's like two different games going on in every game of Dash IO. One in which the opponent has equipment and one in which they don't. So if you're able to get some T-bones early and kind of take away their breakpoint blocking early, or maybe they use their face purgatory early, it makes it so much easier for us once we're able to have an open hand. Maybe we actually get to keep all 5 cards in our hand, and it just helps out so much. But after Face Purgatory, what do you think would be the best card to name against against Viserai with Null Time Zone?
For him, I would either choose Maleficent Incantation
Hmm.
or Mordred, depending on the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can name like Revel in Runeblood, which is really annoying to deal with, even more if he's using like the what we call the birthday cake, which is the hits for 9 if he has 9 runes.
Yeah. What I forget the name of the card, but yes, birthday cake. The nine attack one. But I do agree with that. The Revel and Runebelt point, that might be a really good name just because they never really want to arsenal that. Because if they do, that can get really stuck in their arsenal if we're able to start stripping cards from their hands. So that's usually played from hand. I think that's a really good point there.
And Malefic Incantations, normally they're gonna play it from hand like right away
Yeah.
whenever they have it
Yeah.
because they want the rune generation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a good card to name because they're gonna have like every single one of them in
Yeah,
the
because they're
deck.
gonna have at least 6 of them. There, I see everybody playing like the reds and the yellows. So I think it's like also really important knowing what deck you're playing against and kind of like what an average list looks like, so that you can name anything that they play rainbow of or anything like that. It's very important to know how many of a card are they playing. Because if it's just a 3 of, then like what are the odds of you actually hitting it?
Not only that, but depending on the situation, you don't use it at all because there
Yeah,
is too much variation on
yeah.
what to call.
There are definitely
So there is that.
a lot of matchups where I don't use it at all. I don't know if I would side it in versus Viscerai. I just like don't think it's like. I think the only time I would side it in versus Viscerai is if I know that they're on the build up rune chant OTK build, and then I would Ninth Blade of the Blood Oath, and then I would try to get it late and name Ninth Blade of the Blood Oath because that's the only attack that they have in their whole deck if they're on that plan. But I don't think that our matchup versus the OTK is that bad anyway. I don't think they have the time to.
Yeah, we have the time to set up too much and
Yeah,
then just like explode them.
yeah. If we're able to like do max V into max V turn, then like I just don't think that they have the ability to stop us. Basically,
Yeah, so the second one in the list, since well, Viserai, to summarize it, it's either name those cards that we said or just don't cite it at all.
mm-hmm.
As for the next one, it's Kano. So for Kano, I don't think I would put it in the deck because you can just use Signal Gemmer instead. But if in the if situation, if you want to put it in, I think I would name Kindle.
Yes, yes. I think because every other card. So I was playing against the Kano yesterday, and they just I thought I could name Blazing Aether because it's like okay, well they usually play Blazing from like hand or they have to play one of the cards from hand, either Lessons, Blazing, or Aether Wildfire. One of them's coming from hand, one of them's coming from top of deck, one of them's coming from Arsenal. And it just turns out that they can just choose whichever one they want to come from the top of the deck, basically, with how many times they can activate Kano. The only one that they don't have a choice over is Kindle, or maybe Eye of Ophidia, because like those two, they
Yeah,
have
they
to
can pick.
pitch, yeah. So it just kind of forces them to, if they have an eye in their hand and you name Eye of Ophidia, then they're just looking at this dead card and they're like, no.
So I will explain why I wouldn't name of the Eye of Ophidia and the
Mhm.
problem with Kindle too. Both are instants. So Eye of Ophidia, he can respond to the Null Time Zone using the Kano ability and
Mhm.
pitching it. And Kindle has the same issue, which is he can respond to new time zone
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna use Kindle regardless.
Yeah.
So there is that. So that's why we are saying ifs, because we normally don't use that in the match. We
Yeah,
just run like Signal Jammer and
I
pray
agree.
for the best.
I think Signal Jammer is definitely the best versus Kano, our best bet versus Kano basically, because it's basically just a race. I mean they only have 30 life, so it's like we could do 30 damage. We could do like 15 to 20
30
on turn
damage in a
zero.
turn.
Yeah, so it's like if it goes to turn 4 or something, then I'm getting a little bit nervous that they've already got their setup. But if they're at like 3 on turn 3, then we'll see.
Right? So that's why I think like in this case, just run Signal Jammer.
Yeah,
Do not try to use New Time Zone because it's not really worth it.
yeah,
And if you want to, name like Wildfire or something like that.
yeah. Kendall, Wildfire,
Well,
yeah, something. I don't know. If you name
you
Wildfire and they
have a
don't
lot of
have it in an
options.
arsenal, then yeah. But yeah, Signal Jammer is definitely the move for Kano. Who do we have next?
Next is Syndra, which was the winner of the call-in
Yeah,
by
congrats to
Brody.
Brody. Yeah, Brody winning every single calling ever.
Right. So in Syndra case, since it is a race and she doesn't really have like a specific cards combo,
Mm,
etc., I don't think I would put it because of the race.
yeah. Now, if only it allowed us to name activated abilities as well, or I mean, then if you
Well,
could name Flick
it would
Knives,
be a Mechalordius card then.
if you could name Flick Knives, that would be a pretty good card. But sadly, you can't name Flick Knives, and I think you just have to you just gotta go. Like, I don't think you want a no block blue in your deck. Like, I think you just want to
I
make
think
it
your
as
best
much max
bet
feasible as possible.
I think your best bet in this case is if you have for some reason yellow T-bone on your sideboard, you
Yeah.
just side in that anyway, like instead of the Null Time Zone, because you want to break everything that she has.
Yeah, I've been thinking about Yellow T-Bone. I think that's a pretty spicy
Everyone
card right now.
is.
I think that everyone kind of wants their equipment right now. They want it all, and if you're able to like turn 0, play 2 T-Bones, like that sounds
Yeah,
pretty good to
against like
me.
the new the new assassins and like every blade break that we
Mm-hmm.
have nowadays on the meta, I think it is really like worth thinking. I
Yeah.
thought about this and the magnetic shockwave,
Yeah.
but the problem with shockwave is it doesn't have boost,
Yeah, well, it doesn't have
but
boost,
it is
and it's a
really
two
good.
cost that needs the chain link basically. So any of the two costs that you can't use heart to play out is just like really not good.
It's scary to
Yeah,
use. Yeah,
it's kind of
so
like
that's why.
there's the overpower card, not over. I think it's called overpower. It doesn't have overpower, but it gets plus X for each card you've boosted this combat chain. I think that card actually has some legs, but it doesn't because it needs the chain link. Now, if they can give us some cards that we can break the chain to do these things, because I mean we're playing Sparks in the middle of our turns, we're using our leg piece and
Teklo
our
founder.
yeah, and our heart Teklo Foundry hard, and we're just kind of playing things in between. Hopefully, they give us some more ability to break the chain and then come with something big after, because that's like more kind of max V's. Maybe not 10 damage, but something a little bit more disruptive would be nice.
Yeah, we don't need another maximum velocity. It can be like low velocity. I can work with
Yeah,
that.
I mean, even a different pulse wave harpoon. If we have another pulse wave or something like that, that would be really
It's
really good.
quite thinking about this now though, it's quite interesting that we are seeing a more like disruptive dash
Yeah.
nowadays. She's like a how do I say this? It's like a nasty thing to play against because she can disrupt your hand, she can destroy your equipment, she
Mm,
can make you not play cards nowadays. So she's
yeah.
getting into a really interesting point.
Yeah.
So I am really hopeful to see the new cards that they're gonna come out this year and so on
Yeah,
and
I'm
on.
excited to see like where they go with the design space of mech, because it's really interesting like giving them like pulse wave effects and like kind of like 2 or 3 turn effects that like really change the game. But like that's so good for like Cerebellum processor, oh, it's just a ponder for 2 turns. It's not just a ponder for 2 turns. It
It
extends
can be more than
yeah,
that.
it extends games or extends your ability to play. Sometimes you're drawing you're playing 6 7 cards in a turn, and it's just like, wow, all of these cards do 4 with on hit of 4 more damage, and like it
And
just
I'll
gets
almost always go
crazy.
again.
Yeah, and it always has go again. Yeah.
So, for Syndra, like I said, normally you don't run it at all. You prefer to have yellow T-bones or something like that.
Yeah.
If you ever run, just name like Devotion Never Dies, which is
Yeah, I don't
part
even
of her
know.
combo, or cards that you know that she gonna have a lot. For example, you know that she gonna have Rainbow of it. Just name that card and so
Yeah,
on.
Brand with Cinderclaw probably.
Yeah. And for next one is Enigma, which is funny because every MSD character has the same issue,
Mm-hmm.
which is, oh, I have a Energy, so I'm gonna just call it Energy.
Yeah, no,
It's
definitely naming energy against any of the Chi heroes are it has been very good. I was playing against the Zen yesterday, just like the one on stream, and I just like got this early and I just played Chi and they were like, "Wow, my entire like I don't think I could do anything for the next 3 turns." And then I boosted a Fast and Furious just like on stream and I'm like, "All right, keep your Chi gone. See you later. This is 4 turns of you without any Chi."
right. Not only that, but they also become stuck with a Shi on hand. So let's say
Mm,
that at the moment that you do this, they have two Shi on hand. So
mm-hmm.
they will have two non blocks for 2 to 3 turns,
Yeah.
which
And
is really, really nice.
yeah, really good for us. If we're able to find some boom grenades and we know that they have no blocks in hand, then it's like, okay, this race suddenly just got a lot better for us.
Right. And for Enigma case, you can either name Energy, which is the most common for
Mm,
her to have,
mm-hmm.
and I think you can also name like disruptive cards like Erase Phase or CNC, depending on the situation.
Yeah,
But for
or
her,
Phantasmaclasm.
focus, yeah, or Phantasmic Classroom,
Yeah,
those things that hit you a lot. So for her, just name Energy. It's gonna be
yeah.
easier.
I think Energy versus at least Zen and Enigma is very strong and kind of shuts down their game plan. Because if you name Energy versus Enigma, you're basically also naming Mirror Guy. Like it just kind of forces them to pitch the Mirror Guy instead of playing it out. Because who wants to play a Mirror Guy for 2 counters? Like it's just not
Right.
good enough. Yeah.
So next one in the list, it's Arachne. But which Arachne is this?
Which Arachne is this?
So in this case, it's gonna be the new Arachne, I assume.
Which new
So
Arachne?
for oh no. So I think this one is what we call Mario, which is
Yeah.
the marionette Arachne. So in his case, for most assassins, you want to either name Leave No Witness, which is
Mm.
the 0 for 4 destroy arsenal and well eats up your top card, or Codex.
Yeah,
Codex is also a
Codex.
really nice pick, but you gotta be careful because most Codex plays come from Arsenal,
Mm.
so there is also that. But sometimes people like to pitch the Codex because they want that in the late game,
Mm-hmm.
so there is also that. Another thing that I would name it's likely Bones of Agony
Yeah,
because most assassins
Bonds.
use it, and it's really really annoying to play against it.
Yeah, if we get hit
Even
by a Bonds, then
yeah, because for example, I don't think people know it yet, but take the mental, it's really, really disturbing because they can hit you with anything and then suddenly it is a bones of agony triggered.
yeah,
So you gotta use your hand. And you'll be like, but why?
yeah. No, definitely. Take Up the Mantle is a super good card, and hopefully that you just don't see it. But yeah, naming Codex versus them is kind of decent because like usually there are times whenever they draw it and they don't have an arsenal and they're like, oh, sick, this can be a good Codex turn. Especially if they have like the one that gives go again to their stealth attack, it's like okay, attack with dagger, attack with a stealth attack, and then Codex you and it's like okay well at least you stopped that one turn from popping off as much as it did and that might just be enough for you to be able to turn the corner because maybe they're at 17, 15 to like 20 health and they draw the codex and they want to play it that turn and they can't well then you can hit them all the way down to like 3 or 4 and force them to block with that to block with their hand so they can only do one codex thing out of their hand so that's kind of the
So
hope is that you're not really like stopping their game plan, but you're just slowing them down by a turn to let you set up for the ability to stop their game plan.
Yeah, not only that, but there is also a really funny combo that I mentioned with people recently, which is you boost wave harpoon
Mm,
for 3, and then you, after seeing the enemy hand,
yes.
you name the card based on what he has in name in the well in their hand. So
Yes.
there is also a really good way to play the Null Time Zone because they're gonna be stuck with that card for at least one turn. They're gonna need to arsenal it to play it, and so
Yep.
on and on.
Yep. If you're able to pulse wave into a null time zone, great. Great opportunity right there.
Right. So I think that's like the best way. And for Arachne case, and likely most assassins, name either like Live No Witness,
Yeah.
any other type of disruption that you don't want to see, or Codex. Like
Yeah.
those are all good picks. And normally you probably want to play it in your deck because you're gonna be playing a fat deck this time because
Yeah.
they're gonna try to fatigue you.
Yep.
So there is also that. Well, next one it's Zane. So then it's funny because we saw in the calling how disgusting this card is against Zen. Like Zen actually becomes a fair ninja
Mm-hmm.
with it, which is really funny.
Yeah, I actually I'm interested
So
in seeing like how much Zin has fallen because I was going into this calling thinking that he's still like one of the best decks. But the day 2 conversion rate was really poor for him. He it looks like he might be around for another art for the whole RTN season. I was expecting him to be gone, maybe before it even started or maybe the first week, but it looks like he's going to have a little bit of staying power this RTN season.
yeah, not only that, but I think people didn't got adapted yet to the new
Mm,
meta with Syndra and so on and on with Zen.
yeah.
Because Zen has a really interesting kit against Syndra, which is wax on and wax off. So they can make a Zen state and well break the poor Syndra.
Yeah.
If they make two Zen states, like she can't do almost anything. Like she's gonna be doing one damage to hand like all turn. So
Yeah.
there is also that.
Yeah, Zen
So
states
I
are
think
good.
people gonna like do some tinkering, and we're gonna see more instead of full aggro Zens. We're gonna see more mid range ones.
Yeah.
So I do believe that's going to happen. Well, but for our case, we're gonna likely name Energy and make him a actual normal hero,
Yeah.
not the well broken thing that he is.
Yes, exactly. I think naming this is one of the best like aggro matchups that I've played Null Time Zone in was this one and being able to name Chi and it was like very helpful for my game against him yesterday.
Not only that, but if you for some reason get two null time zones in the field, you can name the Energy and then name like Chase the Day or any other attack that he has, and so on, and he can do even more.
Yeah, I
So there
actually
is also
did
the
do that
implication.
yesterday. I was able to do that and my second name was actually Ancestral Harmony. I was like
Oh my god, that's so mean.
so yeah, I didn't end up hitting it. I was really sad that I didn't, but I had one on Chi and one on Ancestral Harmony for 2 turns, and it I wish it would have hit, but I was thinking about what would the second name be? I was asking the Zen player after, and he was like, I mean, my best starter is probably like 100 wins because you can like play a blue. I'm playing blue and red, so maybe something like that.
You want me to give you a hint?
What's that?
You name Crouching Tiger.
Yeah, that well, how is he getting tigers if he can't pitch chi?
He can still break the boots, and there are some cards that
Break the
make
boots. Yeah,
tigers.
and there's that 0 for 3D react.
Yeah, not only
Mm-hmm.
that, but there is also like 1 to 3. If he pitches a blue, he makes a tiger on his hand. I think
Oh,
so.
okay.
They play a lot of these. So if you name the tiger, they can't have the tiger combos anymore
Yeah, it
because
gets
they
rid of
can't
the
play the
tiger.
tigers.
Okay, yeah. I
So I
think
that's what I would name.
okay. So if you have two, then definitely chi is
Yeah,
first. Yeah.
it's a if only you have two for some reason, like you did a BIOS update and suddenly you hit a no time zone, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have two, name those two, and he can't play anymore. He gonna probably like eye for fate and leave the table after that because it's
Yeah.
really sad.
He's just gonna leave. Flip it and
Uh,
leave.
Anyway, so next one is Aurora. So Aurora, it's a complicated hero because she can, in instant speed, for example, if you name channel, she can respond it and just put the channel on the field. So it's a complicated situation.
Mm.
And normally against Aurora, you just want to race her. But since it is a what if, I think I would name Gone in a Flash in her case.
Yeah, if you see them flip over the boots that like give action points every time they play an instant, then like I think it's pretty reasonable that they're going to be playing Goner and Flash. Maybe even Arc Lightning if they just have it in their hand and it's not an arsenal, then that might be a good call
Mm-hmm.
too. But I mean, like you said, like this is just a straight race. Like I'm playing 60 cards and I do not want these clunky not attacks in my deck because I just want to be coming at them as much as I possibly can with as many breakpoints as I possibly can because they can't really block. So one of these boom grenades is hitting. So good luck, Aurora.
Yeah, they do have the same problem with the Shail, which is they have a lot of non-block cards, which
Yeah,
is the instants. So you can just like breakpoint them and they're gonna take it regardless,
exactly. Yeah.
which is really funny to watch when things don't go well to Auroras. But well, we are not that mean, right? So
No,
well,
I'm that mean. No, I'm that mean. But Null Time Zone is not very mean. But I'm gonna just boom in on them all day.
yeah, in her case, like I said, like don't use it at
Yeah,
all. Like, or if you're using it, just name like combo cards like on in a flash and
yeah,
arc lightning.
yeah,
New is she's also a MST hero. So for her, we have a few problems that well, she's a MST hero, but she doesn't use she
yeah,
against us because she just don't want to have breakpoints at all because she knows that she will likely be running Sib, which is a thing for news nowadays.
yeah,
Like, so she doesn't want to have Sib and non blocks.
yeah.
So I don't know. Like, what do you think?
I mean that's a really good point. So if you know that they're on CYB, then it's really important that like they're not able to play two of them in a turn because that's kind of like whenever they just get too much, like too big for us to like really go through. So if you're able to name count your blessings, then it's like really helpful just because they're not able to play two of them basically, and you're able to stop them, and they can't pitch their yellows to play a red or anything or just play other cards. So it's just really helpful stopping them from getting their game plan. And we're able to just like really whittle them down faster than they can pick themselves back up.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, I think in the situation of New, where you know that she's not running any type of like the she to I'm gonna use the mask and so on and on.
Yeah.
Like you can just like name the things that you normally do for assassins, which is
Yeah.
like codex, leave no witness, disruptions,
Mm-hmm.
and worst case scenario, you can also name well Sid, which
Yeah.
is something that you don't want to see. And
Yeah.
sometimes it happens that normally, not normally, but it can happen is then you're gonna have two Sib in her hand,
Yeah.
which is normally can be one red and one yellow that she gonna use the yellow to pitch to play the red.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have two non blocks for a while,
Yeah.
which is really nice for us.
For like 3 turns of not having no blocks, and it's like okay, boom grenade, boom grenade. Good luck gaining life now.
Right? So there is also that. There is also a really interesting situation where you can name also defense reactions
Mm.
if you know that they are on her hand and so on and on. So worst case scenario, you know that she has a sink below on her hand for some reason. You just name it and try to go for the breakpoints and so on
Yeah.
and on.
And I think it is
So there is
important because I would like we are like we said with Arachne earlier. It is like we are going to be fat decking this matchup, or at least I am, and just getting the ability to, you know, just if you say it off the top, it's like well we need something to name, so might as well name CYB or any sort of like same thing with the other assassins like leave no witnesses or Bonds of Agony or Surgical Extraction. Like any of these are just like good names. If you, especially if you know, like if you Pulse Wave Harpooner, you know.
hmm So for her, that's literally this. The next one is Ira. So Ira, it's a problem of a match because it's really annoying now to play against one.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think like, especially like looking at the day two like conversion rates, I agree with like how the math went on that. Like, it looks like a cool deck. It looks fun, but like it's just not fast enough. Like without needle, like they just can't do enough damage.
Yeah, but the thing is, for example, against us, with dual threat,
Dual
they can
threat, yeah,
do a well Kodashi for 4, and then suddenly a raise face, a ANC, etc. for 9.
yeah,
So blocking this, it's well kind of impossible for
yeah,
us.
yeah.
It could
Definitely
be really
impossible.
scary.
Yeah, yeah. No.
So I
So
don't know, like
in that case, what would you rather name? Would you rather name the disruption, or would you rather name the dual threat?
mm, for that, I would need to be sure that she has a dual threat in her
Mm,
hand. But I don't think it's gonna happen because normally she would want to arsenal that,
yeah, that's what I
and
was
then when
thinking.
she has a disruption, she gonna like use it. So in her case, I would just name. Mm, I think if I used against her, I would name a raise face or CNC.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, because it's like she could still come with an erase face for 7 or a CNC for 9, because it's like that's honestly just as hard to block as 9 is, like on a CNC. So like 7 and 9 really aren't that different, because all of our stuff, if it does block, it blocks 3. So like whatever.
Mhm.
So like getting rid of the disruptive aspect is definitely better than getting rid of the pump aspect, I think.
Yeah, I think I would name a raise face like normally.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't have my crow anymore, I think I would name CNC depending on the situation.
Yeah, if you still
Because
have crown, then
normally,
CNC is not
yeah,
bad.
normally she doesn't use like the things from the arsenal.
Yeah,
Like you're gonna have that on hand, which is well fine, I guess.
yeah,
But it depends.
yeah. Who we got next?
Um, Next we have Prism.
Prism. What a fun matchup. What everybody's favorite illusionist.
For her, like it's a race, and you
Yeah.
likely don't want any kind of item.
Yeah.
Like you just kind of like try to side in the throttles for some like
Yeah, yeah,
poppers.
yeah. You want to have as many poppers as possible, and also like I mean, I guess if you are playing the card, I don't think I would play the card in this matchup, but like Herald of Erudition is the only like thing that really destroys us.
Matters the most, yeah. So
Yeah.
aside from that, I don't see anything else. Like you don't really not want to name like Soul Shield. Maybe
Yeah.
the thing that stops your turn. I forgot the name. The Arc
Well,
Light Sentinel, I think.
yeah, Arclight. I've never actually played against the Prism that played Arclight versus me. Like usually like that's their matchup like for like Guardians or
Fatigue,
like
yeah.
yeah. But like for us it's like they try to race us too. It's like you're not going to block my heralds. I'm going to get angels out. Let's go.
Yeah, she do what we call the 7-4-7
Yeah,
every time.
7. Yeah, exactly. That's what they're trying to do.
So there are some times that you're gonna see Arclight Sentinel, but you could just like at this match normally you want to run the boots, the Achilles.
Mhm.
So you just like break it and continue your turn, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So it doesn't really matter. But anyway, Prism, you normally don't want the item. Like if you
No.
do, just name Erudition and that's
Yeah.
about it.
It's not a popper. You just want to have the density of poppers in your deck as much as possible.
Yeah. Well, next one is Vincent. Vincent,
Okay.
I would name totally Succumb to Temptation.
Succumb? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah,
I
that card.
mean,
Okay, well, there's arguments for the things that like give go again to her attacks, because that's like what really brings her like turns like over. Like what's it? Not Mordred Tide. What's the one? Mauvrian Skies. Mauvrian Skies gives go again, and it also like makes more rune chance. I don't even know if they play Mauv Skies anymore, honestly. But Shadow Puppetry
mm,
as well.
I think they also run the new blue one that gives go again and overpower.
Yeah, and Malefic Incantation as well is
Yeah,
really
my
good.
last expectation would be
Malefic
a
is
card that I
very
would
good
name.
for her. Yeah, because she either pitches it or she just plays them, and it's like, and she also plays at least 6. So I think that that would be a good card, so that you can gum up her
Mhm.
hand, and it only blocks for 2. So like, if she has to like keep that in her hand, if there's one in arsenal and one in hand, she has to just IP herself, then that's like that's huge for us, because they either have to banish it at the start of their turn, and that they're not banishing an attack with Rune Gate, or they have to block with it for 2, and it's like I'm down with you blocking for 2 all day.
Yeah, not only that, but for example, in her specific match, you want to be as disruptive as possible because
Mm-hmm.
she's gonna literally kill herself.
Yes,
So
yes,
you
that's what
want
we're
her
hoping
to
for.
die from the blood depth. So you just go ahead and try to like remove all the cards that you can.
Yep.
But normally it is a race, so if you don't want to run the Null Time Zone, it is fine too.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to, because it is still a blow, so you can just pitch it
Yeah.
for well rune
For
chance.
root chance.
You
Yeah.
can also do it's
Yeah.
completely fine.
Yeah.
But next one, we have the mirror match.
Okay. Would you play this card in the mirror?
No,
No.
but
Me neither.
if the what if, I would just name like 0 to 60 or zebra hit. Or
Yeah,
in the worst case
definitely.
scenario, like name MV if I knew that the person had a MV.
Yeah, I don't know how you would know they have a maximal. I guess if they like bought it back
You
with
can
a backup
predict. You
protocol
can predict
red.
with. You can predict if they are like keeping the arsenal for a while, or if they just do what you said, like bring it back with protocol and so on.
Now, something that would be really, really cool, just the absolute blowout is you see it on the top of your deck, and they go boost from Arsenal, boost, boost, and then in response to the second boost, you just like, and it's like 2 floating, it's like, okay, duh. 1 card in hand, 2 floating, you'd boost it 3 times, and then you just like play it off the top of name Max V. What are they gonna do
You
about
know,
that?
a even funnier situation. Let's say that they do the boost, and
Yeah,
then go use Teklo Foundry because they don't have enough resources. And then in response to the Teklo Foundry, you name Max V, and then they lost 2 cards and will have 3 resources, 2 resources, and will not be able to play the Max V.
yeah,
But again, it is a situation that they need to have Max V on the hand because if they have an
yes.
arsenal,
Then it doesn't do
it's
anything, yeah.
it doesn't do anything.
And it
But
does stop
like
them
I
for a turn, so
well, yes, but if you are using for some reason, I would just name like cards that we have a lot, which is
0 to
like 0 to
60.
60 or zipper hit.
Zipper
Like
hit,
we
because
have
that's a 6
Grable.
of. Yeah.
So aside from that, yeah, like race, just
Yeah, just
race,
race. Yeah. 60 cards, let's attack.
right? So next one is Florian. So Florian, it's a pain of a match
Oh
because
man, this matchup just
uh,
sucks.
yeah, they have every disruption no to men, like
Yep.
every single one. So we're gonna see Paul Under falling off the crown, erase face,
Yep.
CNC,
CNC.
Warmonger. You're gonna see every single one of them.
Yep.
So in this case, like you just gonna name something that doesn't stop your turn. Like for
Yeah.
example, you wanna do a big turn, so you have it on your hand. You're gonna be like, I want to name erase face because it's something that he can do to stop your turn,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and on. Like you gotta be smart on what you
Yeah.
name.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that is that like they play Felling out of Arsenal a lot. I mean, they only ever play Plow Under from Arsenal, so like it's just so hard to like name anything versus Florian just because of how like it's like okay, I can't play Felling this turn. I'll just block with a bunch of cards and then Arsenal my Felling. And it's like how am I supposed to kill you? How are we
Yeah,
supposed to
not
do this?
that's so sad, man. It's so sad. But yeah, like against Florian, you are probably doing a fat deck, so
Yeah,
it is a blow still, so you're
and
gonna
it
use it
yeah it
regardless.
yeah.
So if you're gonna use it, just like name a annoying disruption that you know
Hmm.
it's coming, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Next one is Dorinthia.
Dory.
Yeah,
Dory is
Dorinthia.
like that's like so hard because it's like what do uh, you just have to guess, but that's like what you have to do against Dory all the time. I don't know. From my experience, the way that I've been playing against Dory is just like kind of play the mid-range build and then hope that I can like get there. Like I don't think I would play this versus Dory because it doesn't block, which I mean, there is one hand where you're going to need to block with your whole hand. And it's like once they have 2, maybe 3 counters, then you're still in range of being able to stop them from getting more. Just like all equipment, whole hand, stop your counters and then reset the game. And then if you can do that, then like you're in a very commanding position because they won't have the time to get all their counters back.
Hmm.
Probably the best card to name would be like either the one that gives them dominate or maybe the one that
Draw a card.
yeah, the one that draws cards or the one that puts counters on their weapon every time it hits. That like those three are like definitely their three best cards.
Also, another point that we forgot to mention
Hmm.
is for you to name a card, you need to know the name of the card. So
Yeah.
don't be like us.
Yeah.
And the most problematic part of this card is you gotta know every card in
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah.
So you gotta know what you are naming because if you be like us, like I want to name that thing that gives dominate,
That
it
draws
doesn't work
cards.
like that.
Iron Song Determination.
So you gotta know the name. So if you are playing against something, at least it's still the main deck that people use, so you know
Yeah.
at least like the name of the cards that you want to name.
Oath of
So
Loyalty is the
there's
one that
that.
gives counters. Iron Song Determination gives dominate. I can't remember the one that draws cards, but that's like the oldest one too. I can't believe I can't remember it.
It's also three cards that we said. Two are door specializations.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, and that's like something about these type of cards that I do really enjoy is like you do have to know about all of the other decks in the format. Like coming from Magic, my favorite card in Magic was Thoughtseize because it's like you that card is either the best card in the game or just absolutely terrible because if you know what the other person is trying to do, then naming things that they really need to do from hand especially are just backbreaking for them. But if you name the wrong card, then they're like, you just put another card in your deck that didn't do anything. Like it doesn't block. Like it might have pitched you for three, but like it just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's just like the situation that we said earlier. For
Mm,
example, when you do a plus wave harpoon for three, and then you know the three cards that they have in hand, you choose one, so they're gonna
yeah,
have two, and then you name the last one, which is probably gonna be a blue card, and the one left is like a red.
yeah,
So they're gonna need to arsenal that, and they will lose the turn
yeah,
because you essentially got two cards out of them,
yep. If you can
which
name
is
their
really
blue and make
nice.
them Arsenal of blue, that's really good. Yeah,
So that's it's also really nice. But
true.
well, for Dory, you either want to do like well mid range, you wanna do like me and go crazy and just
Oh.
try to over damage her, or worst case scenario, if you want to play it, know the name of the cards that you are naming. The
Yeah,
end.
yeah, definitely remember that.
Well, next one it's Auxilio. So
Wait, an
Auxilio is
Acilio
not a
made day
magic.
two?
Friendly.
Okay, good job, Acilio. I'm excited for that.
So in a match against Auxilio, you're gonna have two cards, which is Mind Warp
Yeah,
and Gone in a Flash,
yeah,
because it's the two most annoying cards that they have. And if you want to be picky about it, you can name the one that it's 0 to 3 red. It's etchings of something that they can
Etchings of
get a
Arcana.
serial. Yes, one of them. Like they have two.
Hold on. Whoa, wait. No, 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 no. This is like obviously Gone in a Flash, though, right? Like that just stops their entire combo because like anytime that they play Gone in a Flash and then they play an instant and it's like it goes back to their hand. So like
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah,
So in his case, that's why I'm saying like you
yeah,
either name that or Mind Warp if you want
yeah,
to be like safe with your hand.
yeah,
And worst case scenario, if you for some reason didn't name anything or forgot the name of the card, just name Etchings and that's about it.
yeah.
But priority, Gone in a Flash,
Yeah, you definitely
Mind
like
Warp.
stop their whole combo with Gone in a Flash.
Like they can't do much without it. Like
Yeah,
the
that's really
the
good.
whole deck is built for that.
That's actually really good. That might like I know that this would definitely be like one of the race matchups where it's just like a strict 60, but I don't know, that might be good enough to like
Two side
include
in
yeah,
three.
to bring
Yeah.
in, yeah.
So let's see. Next one is Chow.
Oh God. This
And
is
I'm
probably
like,
the most questions that I get about any hero is for Jarl. Honestly, I don't think the matchup's that bad. Like I kind of like this matchup.
so I had a really funny experience against Joe, which is I run 9 T-bones, so
Oh,
I
you
don't
run nine
have
T-bone. Okay.
problems.
Yeah.
So I make him go naked before he makes me go naked,
Yeah. That honestly makes
which is
sense.
really funny.
It's like,
So
oh, you
in
wanted
this
to break
case,
all my equipment? Nah, I got all yours.
right? So in his case, like you gonna name things that are annoying for you. So I think you're gonna name Channel,
Yeah, Channel Like
the late
Frigid.
one.
Yeah, Channel Like Frigid definitely like the most annoying card that he can play. Blizzard.
Yeah, Blizzard, and I think you want to name the things that like are really disruptive. You can also, for some reason, if you want to name Pommel, there are some people that can do
Against the
that.
Guardians, like Pummel is it can be like a legit call for them just because, like then they have to have it in Arsenal. I don't know. It's just like that's usually what I
Yeah,
think versus Guardians.
sometimes they're gonna have it on Arsenal, sometimes they're gonna have it in hand.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be really like careful with
Yeah.
what you name against Joel. Like worst case scenario, you can just like you do for foreign, like
Mhm.
name falling off the crown, flow. You can also name Oakenwold, which is a really disruptive card.
Yeah. I've seen Guardians playing Blue Pummel before and like pitching it and like yeah, I know. It's really rough. Just like Blue Pummel. So if you do name Pummel and they are playing the Blues, then that gets really good. Cuz it is just the 2 block. Like if they have 2 blocks in their Guardian deck, like okay.
And they can't pitch it at
Yeah, they
all,
can't
which
pitch
is
it.
really
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, I don't know. Like for Joel, you gonna do fat deck,
Yeah,
but
you fat
you
deck
can
it.
name the cards that we just said, and you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, the most important
Uh,
thing to do against Jarl would be getting all of your um all of your Teklo pounders on the battlefield at the same time. Like if you can get 3 Teklo pounders with three counters and you're not dead yet, then like it looks really great for you.
yeah, every opportunity that you have, at least try to attack with like T-bones if he's not
Yes.
using the decomposed boots.
Yep.
If you know that you can break his equipment, his like full temper,
Yeah.
go for the T-bones.
Definitely.
Aside from that, I think it's well a really annoying match to play against.
Yeah.
It is what it
Especially
is.
well if they have the boots that like give you
Embodiment.
civic steps. Yeah, no, the
Oh,
civic
okay.
steps. Yeah, if you have what is it called? A quicken token. Quicken tokens are
Hmm.
really good for your symbiosis shot because it's like you don't need the double action points to go symbiosis, which like is kind of really bad for them. So if you T-bone and get quickens and then you can do all of that, that's a pretty good turn.
It is really funny because whenever I play locally and people block with civic steps, I'm like, you don't need to give me the token. I'm hitting you for 2 with my symbiosis.
Yep.
It's really funny.
Thank
But well,
you.
next one, it's Fang, a new character.
This is I have no idea. I don't know what any of his cards are named. They all look the same to me.
For Fang, uh, Fang isn't really a fatigue match if
No.
he really doesn't want it to be because he
Yeah.
can run like a lot of defense reactions. But
Hmm.
I think the defense reactions for Fang like breaks him up more than break us. So there is also that. And for his cards, you would need actually you would have the same problem as Dorinthia. You would need to know
Dory, yeah.
every card name,
Well,
even
Dory
including the new
and
ones.
Syndra as well. Like it's just kind of like all of his cards do the same thing. So it's like you just kind of have to
It's
guess
full.
right.
It
So
it's likely a pump for the attack, and that's about it.
yeah, exactly. So like honestly, against Fang, like the thing about Fang is that they can't really fatigue you because if they do try to like block with their whole hand one time, then they just lose all their fealties. Like how are they going to fatigue you entirely if I guess if they just like really go for it and they're just gonna fatigue you and they just like are gonna wait for you to die, then I guess that's a thing they could do. But like I don't
Hmm.
think they block well enough because like a lot of the draconic stuff that they have also blocks for two. They do have the boots that get a counter off of them every single time. But if you're ever able to T-bone like twice and get two counters on that, then that's kind of backbreaking for them, especially if they're trying to really block you out. But all of their stuff is like revolved around them attacking. Like it's not
Hmm.
like Dory. I feel like Dory can really go like block hard, but like they have to
Yeah,
be
she's
on the
a more.
offensive.
I think Dor is a more defensive warrior. In
Yeah,
his case, it's more aggressive. So
yeah,
in his case, like I wouldn't like side in no time zone. I would just
yeah.
like go
No,
ham,
yeah. I think I go ham versus Fang as well. It's just like block me. I dare you.
right? So next one is Reinar, the sole warrior that made
Brute.
it to the second day. Eugene with his Reiner, man, that was a really amusing match to watch.
Yes, yeah. That was a great match.
So in his case, and most builds, you likely want to name like go again cards
Yeah.
and Blood Rush below,
Yeah, so
and
like the thing
that's
about
it.
like the brutes like KO, Rhino, or Levia, they really want to be playing their Blood Rush from Arsenal so that they can like have the blue pitch and then draw two cards. So like I don't think Blood Rush is like very great versus them, but if you're able to name Wild Ride or Pulping, then those cards just can kind of stop their turn in their tracks. Like instead of going 3 or 4 chain links wide, they can only go 2 or 3 chain links wide, and that just might be enough. Like you might live at 8 health, you might live at like below 8, and then like you're doing really well. Also, just a reminder, I know there's a lot of new people that listen to like our content in Dash.io. Do not ever go to 2 versus a brute. They will reckless swing
The
you.
real reckless on you for
2
sure.
equals 0 against brute.
I mean, if you are really lucky and they have like
Whew.
two in their hand and they manage to discard the other one, then you're gonna survive. But not happening.
Yeah,
Well, in Brute's case, I think the best card to name is really Pulpin
yeah,
because depending on the situation, you can survive in a situation where you have like 8 HP or 6 HP
yeah,
because of the dominate.
yeah,
So it can get really scary.
yeah,
So it can save you a lot.
yeah. Definitely
Also,
pulping.
the pulse wave combo works differently and builds because the brute gonna show you their hand and you're gonna see that they have no blocks on their
Yeah,
attack.
yeah,
So you're gonna be like, I can't pull this. But if you are using Null Time Zone, you can just name the card and they can't play it regardless.
yeah,
And normally the cards are really expensive to play. Like they cost at the very least 1 and 2. So
yeah.
they're
True.
gonna need a bull card. So if you manage to like pick up the bull card that they have in hand, and then they have two red attacks, they can do nothing.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely naming blues just in general with null time zone whenever you know what it is always great.
Yeah, so I think that's it for him. Like builds normally you just do this. Like it
Yeah,
works for every single one, like Ryan, Kyle, Olivia,
yeah.
etc. Next one is Riptide. Riptide.
Riptide. This is a crazy day too over here.
So Riptide, it falls into the problem that Azalea has, which is she shoot arrows from
From Arsenal.
Arsenal,
Yep.
so doesn't really matter for Null Time Zone.
Yeah.
And traps can also be used from Arsenal because they have the Riptide ability.
Yeah.
So you
Well,
can't
the
do
only
really much.
one, yeah, you can't really do much, so it's like not that great. But if you are able to like stop them from collapsing trapping you from
Yeah,
hand,
collapsing trap
that's
it's
really
a
good.
really nice.
Yeah, that because that, I mean, like the thing about Riptide that I just don't like in general is that all of his like really good cards are legendaries. So it's like, oh, congratulations, you had your one of in your deck at this exact moment to like do exactly what you needed. It's like this is kind of crazy. I don't like the variance around Riptide. Like, and I know that I'm playing Dash.io, so it's like, oh, you don't like variance, and you're playing a half item deck, and
The
it's like,
one of the most variant decks ever. But yeah.
yeah, but it's like I just don't like the variance of like, oh, you just happen to have the exact one. Cool, thanks.
So it's for him like just don't use it
Yeah, I
because
wouldn't use
it's
it versus
not
him.
going to matter much.
Yeah,
And in his case, just run like Signal Jammer if you want to be disruptive about it.
Yeah,
and call
true.
it a day.
Yeah.
Next one is Verdance.
Ooh, Verdant. Actually, I think Rampant Growth Life is very good versus her.
Yeah, because you
Especially
can't
if you see
combo.
her playing the headpiece that what it's like a common from Tales of Aria, the headpiece that allows you to buy back like the Rampant Growth Life or the Earth card from your graveyard. Like if you're
Hmm.
able to stop them from doing that, because usually they have one in Arsenal and they buy back another one, so it's like you can really like have their combo damage basically for 3 turns if you have this out. I actually think this is a really good matchup for Null Time Zone, just because especially if you know that they're on like the big combo, if they're on like a more of a mid rangey, then it's kind of the same as Florian. It just kind of is a little bit difficult, but I mean they're playing CNC and Erase Face and Felling of the Crown as well if they're on that. But if you see them with that headpiece, then definitely Rampant Growth, and you want to play a little bit later in the game. Like once you're at like 20, like 15 to like 25, you're in kill range. Just so you know, against the combo verdants.
Yeah, and normally since well, no time zone it's a bull, so you can just keep on pitching it, and on the second
Yeah,
cycle you can, if your HP is around that range, you can just use it.
yeah. And you
You
also
can
have
just
Spark of
keep on.
Genius. Yeah, you can spark for it. Like it's really really good. Yeah.
It's a really good spark target to be honest because of Crank. So there's
Yeah.
also that.
Yeah. Also, did we talk about like how Spark works with Null Time Zone yet? I can't remember if we had gone over that part yet.
I don't think so,
Yeah, no.
and it
So
is a really interesting time to talk about it.
yeah, so with Spark, they have to respond to the Spark. It's very important. This was a question that we were getting earlier. It's very important that everyone knows that once you spark, the whole card must resolve. So you spark and you go search for an item, and it comes onto the arena immediately. There's no time in which they can respond after spark resolves. So if you're playing against a Kano or a Verdance or something, and they let spark resolve, then there's no time for them to oh sorry I went to go combo like right there. It's like well you can't
Yeah,
play your
two
card.
birds.
Sorry. Yeah, this is
Yes,
RT, and
normally,
if it's an armory, I'll let people. Yeah, whatever. You didn't realize, but like at RTNs and stuff, it's like I've got a null
yeah,
time
too
zone and
big.
it's got rampant growth life on it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and the spark case against wizards, normally you're gonna like get a signal jammer, for example,
Yeah.
and the only windows of time that they have, it's I played this spark and I set the cost,
Yes.
so they can respond to that.
Yep.
After that, the whole sparks resolve, which is you search for an item and put that in the battlefield,
Yep.
which is normally a signal jammer. So when
Yep.
signal jammer is in the field, you can only do one non-attack.
Yep.
So your non-attack it's already been used up.
Yep.
So there is that, and the enemy can do anything anymore. Like
Yep.
they just have the rule and they gotta abide to the rule,
Yep.
which is one non-attack, and so on and
Exactly.
on. It's really funny. This thing is actually people don't know about this, which is a really interesting part of the combo. Like
Mhm.
I want to stop Azalea, for example. I want to stop people that have the Storm Riders boots,
Yeah.
so they can't kill me on my turn and so on and on. So
Yeah,
it's
you would
really
have to
nice
be
to
really
know that
lucky
you can.
to hit something like that though. If it's like Azalea plays a non-attack and then you just so happen to have a signal jammer on top, that I mean, it could happen, but that is really lucky.
It happens sometimes, and it is really funny when it happens. Like I gonna buff myself, and then in response I gonna signal jam from the top, and
Yeah,
they'll be like, "Oh, I can't do buffs anymore." Yeah, it's really funny.
yeah, that's really
In
good.
the spark case, though, you're just gonna use it with instant speed like enemies, which is
Yeah,
normally MST that they can use G. Like for example, Enigma, she
yeah,
can respond with
MST,
G, and so on and on.
yeah,
And wizards.
and wizards. Yeah. All right.
I think the next question, which I really think I should answer this, is people are asking me why I run adaptive plating and why I run braces of
Oh, okay.
belief
Oh,
and when I
okay.
should use one or other.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I agree with
So,
this.
I don't think people know, but at the nationals list, I used 2 adaptive platings.
Really?
And the reason was if a build can block 10 with their equipment, why I, as Dash IO, can't block 10 too? And that's exactly what I did. So I
Really?
went with 2 adaptive platings there. And it was really good, to be honest.
Hmm.
Like, for example, people hit me with a erase face. I would just throw 2 adaptive platings
Yeah,
and
you
two
could
equip
do.
2 items, and that's
Yeah,
it. That's it.
that's true.
So people would be like, damn.
So, in what matchups are you playing the Bracers of Belief over Adaptive?
So over adaptive, I think it's easier for me to just say which matches I use like adaptive
Oh,
plating,
okay,
which
yeah.
is any matches that I don't think I can out race them,
Okay, yeah.
which is like Aurora and stuff like that. That I know that they can burst me for some reason.
Hmm.
So other matches that I feel confident that I can do more damage than then I run the Braces of Belief. And there is one specific match that I run adaptive plating ever. It's Azalea because of the
Yeah.
extra block. So
Azalea
I
and the
it's
Assassins.
100%. For example, at the nationals thing, I run 2 adaptive platings exactly for Azalea,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't have any problems with them.
Hmm.
And in a really specific match, which is against Enigma, I run the Achilles boots instead of the new boots.
Oh, really?
Yes, because if they think about doing a mirror guy at the end of my turn, I can just break the boots and do a symbiosis shot.
Oh, yeah,
So they're
true,
gonna
true, true,
either
true.
lose a card from the hand or a equipment,
Well,
or I'm gonna kill the mirror guy.
this leads to another question that I have is you're still playing Symbiosis Shot for for almost every matchup, and I like, why is that? Because I feel like everybody else has kind of moved on to Hanabi Blaster at this point. So what's the reasoning behind Symbiosis Shot?
So symbiosis shot, it's really good against some matches, and I like the guaranteed 2 damage instead of I need to build up a lot of counters to do 5 overpower.
Yeah,
Because there is some matches that you will not be able to do 3 boosts at
yeah,
all. Like, and there is sometimes that you gotta set up. So the setup took you 1 turn, which is 1 counter.
yeah,
In the symbiosis case, it gave you 1 to 3 counters depending on the situation.
yeah.
And at the end game, you're gonna be like boost, boost, shoot,
True.
something, shoot,
Yeah,
and so
true.
on and on. So I prefer that because of end gaming.
Mm.
Like at the end game, you're gonna see in the situation that you will not be able to build up any kind of like counters
That's kind of
for your Hanabi
interesting because
blaster.
I have the exact opposite reason, or the same exact reason for the Hanabi Blaster is
Oh,
it's for
sure.
the end game, and that like so most of the time like whenever I'm playing with the Hanabi Blaster, I won't. So the first time I get 2 counters on it, I'm not gonna go again to like, or I'm not gonna try to get shoot it with only 2 counters on it. I want to shoot it with 3 counters on it so that I can just go boost 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 and then hold the second one, and then go boost boost boost, shoot it, and then it's like 5 overpower, and then go boost boost boost, shoot it again, and it's like 2 turns of 5 overpower in a row is really really strong, and like the end game of it is just like the fact that they can't block it. Like they can block the two, but if they're not able to block all 5 of this, then all 5 of this plus like the 3 boosts that came before it, then they're just in a really rough position. So that's my
Yeah,
reasoning for
I
playing the
I do
blaster.
understand it, but for example, let's say in a situation that you are left with one and you can't build the
Yes.
second one anymore.
Yeah.
So you'll be like stuck with a weapon that it's just there for show. That's
Yeah.
why I'm like, I prefer symbiosis. Because
Yeah.
symbiosis is like a guarantee to at any moment because you're always gonna have like 6 counters on
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Because high
definitely.
thing is not a thing anymore.
Yeah,
So there's
definitely one
that.
of the most like important things is to like realize like so how much damage does the blaster do? So if it does 10 damage over the course of a game, then that's really great. But the symbiosis shot can also get up to 10 damage over the course of the game. So it's more so about like matchup specificity of like am I going to be able to do 10 overpower or am I going to be able to do 10 in small increments? And it's more like, so like against Jarl, it's like you're never going to be able to play 3 boost cards in a turn. Like that's just not happening. They're going to Blizzard you, they're going to Frostbite you, they're going to blah 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 you. And so like obviously you're going to play Symbiosis Shot in that matchup. But again, and like the assassins as well, I think Symbiosis Shot might have a lot more legs than Hanabi Blaster. But against like Aurora, it's like she's not stopping you from boosting 3 times. This game's going 3, maybe 4 turns long anyway. So like if it gets to the 4th turn and you've played 3 boost cards every single turn, and you can attack with 10 overpower, then like all of their stuff is actions or no blocks. So they're just not able to block it. So that's kind of my reasoning for going Blaster in those super aggro matchups.
Yeah, funnily enough, my list can run either of them. So
Yeah.
if you want to, you can just put that on the side
Yeah.
and see what happens.
Yeah,
And
same.
like, this match I want to just use Symbiosis because it's better. Like, for example, you are against a Enigma, and you want to use Symbiosis because you don't want to get shoot. Like,
Mhm.
you don't want to see a Mirror Guy at the end of your turn, and etc.
Mhm.
And you're gonna see situations where I want to run Hanabi Blaster because this match allows me to boost like forever 3 turns.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like I think it's about tastes.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it's just personal preference. That's kind of like what a lot of DOs are in the Discord. It's like people will look at each other's lists and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that kind of makes sense," but I like playing this better. So, and that's I love that about Flesh and Blood. I really feel like there's a lot of like personality inside of decks. And like how you choose to build decks and everything like that is just there's a lot of personal touch that you can really bring in.
Yeah, like whenever you see a list, you're gonna see that most of them are really similar, but they
Mm-hmm.
have like some really specific cards
Yeah.
that are like attached to that person. Like it's like I like this card because X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
and I will use that, and it's completely fine. Like you can do whatever. Like
Yeah.
you can never do a dash IO with Talisha. Like
Yeah. Oh,
for example,
you could.
I
you
I do have a list of Dio control with
control
the
Dio.
with the D. Well,
Are you
I do
hopping in a
have a
mech
list.
suit? No, not
I
hopping in the
mean,
mech suit.
I mean, maybe. But the thing is, the Dio control list, for example, I use the Dai like pistol and the
Mm-hmm.
pistol plan with it. It's just like playing slab like
Yeah.
BA, but Dio, which is
Yeah.
really fun regardless. Like I like playing that sometimes just to have fun.
Yeah.
And that's the good part about Flesh and Blood.
Yep, that is the great part about Flesh and Blood. We get to build our own lists, have fun, and honestly, the best part is, like we were saying earlier, is the community and talking about all of that. But I think we have gone on for long enough with all of our little Dash IO content. Definitely going to be coming out with some more of this. This is a lot of fun. I really enjoy talking to Tero here. For anybody staying this long, this is actually the second time we recorded this. We had some audio issues on the first one, so I appreciate everybody who comes out and watches. And Tero, do you have any like socials or anything that you want to plug for yourself?
Well, socials, I only have my YouTube channel because I
Okay.
am not a really social person. I'm too shy. I'm too shy for this. But for people that do follow me, like like most people that gonna be here know my channel, like it's
Hmm.
Tero.
Yeah.
Normally, I post like my gameplays there. I do plan on like making content like this where I like do deck decks and stuff
Hmm.
eventually. But that's most of me.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate very much for coming back and recording again with me after it was all my fault. And I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll definitely get some more content like this. You know, maybe like once a season we'll talk about Dio, or maybe even more than that. We'll see what life brings us.
Yeah, we can do like a small report on how our RTNs went on
Oh
and so on
yes,
and on.
yes, yes, yes. I'm definitely
It would
planning
be
on
really
doing some
fun.
of those. But yeah, I'll have Tero's all of his YouTube everything linked in the bottom. Y'all all go give him likes and subscribes. Same over here, and I'll have all of my socials also down in the bottom in the description as well. So thank you everybody who came out and watched this far. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.